So, do you know who was the top scorer of the second World Cup? Easy, 1979 Cricket World Cup, it was Gordon Greenidge. No, 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 no. The top goal scorer of the Football World Cup. Let's have a look together then. Before we begin, I would just like to say that these are the reasons that I consider as the top 5 reasons to remember the top goal scorer of the second Football World Cup, which was held in 1934 in Italy. The top goal scorer during that World Cup was Oljik Nehdi, who played for Czechoslovakia as an inside forward. He scored a total of 5 goals in that World Cup. Now, you might be saying, why don't we call him the Golden Boot winner of that World Cup? Well, it was only 48 years later at the World Cup in 1982 in Spain that the Golden Boot was awarded to the top goal scorer. Therefore, he wasn't actually awarded a Golden Boot. So, let's begin with number 5. He was one of Czechoslovakia's greatest players of all time. Nehdi played for Sparta Prague and SK Rakovnik during his entire professional span. He scored 162 league goals in 187 games for Sparta, winning 4 Czechoslovak First League championships. He also scored 18 goals in 38 games for SK Rakovnik, giving him a total of 180 league goals in 225 games. At the international level, Nehdi was equally effective. Furthermore, he represented Czechoslovakia in 2 World Cups, in 1934 in Italy and 1938 in France. He scored 29 goals in 44 games for Czechoslovakia. This made him the third highest goal scorer for Czechoslovakia till its peaceful dissolution in 1992. He would have gone on to play more games and scored more goals for Czechoslovakia had he not broken his leg in the 1938 World Cup, which effectively ended his international career. So, thus he was one of Czechoslovakia's greats at number 5. Moving on to number 4, he was credited with the record in 2006. Nehdi was initially credited with only 4 goals during the 1934 World Cup, making him joint top scorer with Italy's Angelo Schiavio and Germany's Edmund Konnen. It was only 18 years ago in 2006 Nehdi was credited as the outright top scorer in the 1934 World Cup with 5 goals. This has been officially recognized by FIFA since November 2006. Now, we still don't know which goal in the tournament FIFA credited as Nehdi's fifth against which team. Was it an opposition's own goal or his teammates, which has now been recognized as Nehdi's fifth? We don't know. In the 1934 World Cup, Nehdi was not only the tournament top goal scorer, but he was also awarded the bronze ball as the third most outstanding player of the tournament and was voted into the all-star team of the tournament. So that is, he was credited with the record in 2006 at number 4. Moving on to number 3, he scored a hat-trick in the semi-final. The semi-final was played on 3rd June 1934 at the Stadio Nazionale in Rome, Italy. The 15,000 who were in attendance were treated with some brilliant football from Czechoslovakia. Nehdi scored all 3 goals for Czechoslovakia, helping them beat Germany 3-1. Nehdi scored the only goal in the first half, putting Czechoslovakia ahead at the break. In the second half, Germany came back strongly, leveling in the 62nd minute. Nehdi scored another 2 in the next 20 minutes, putting the game away from Germany's reach. So that's his hat-trick in the semi-final at number 3. Moving on to number 2, his retirement at the age of 47. Due to the Second World War, Nehdi had an intermittent career. However, following the war, Nehdi could finally resume playing. With all the time lost due to the war, Nehdi wanted to make up for lost time. He continued playing well into his late 40s. Oljik Nehdi finally retired from active football at the age of almost 47. That too, after breaking a leg. If it hadn't been for the broken leg, who knows how many years Nehdi would have kept on playing. And now, without further ado, we are going to talk about the number 1 reason on this list to remember the 1934 World Cup's top goal scorer, which is his demise during the 1990 World Cup in Italy. The 1934 World Cup was played in Italy. 56 years later, the 1990 World Cup was also played in Italy. This is not the only connection between these 2 World Cups. While this 1990 edition was being played, the news broke out of the 1934 World Cup's top goal scorer, Oljik Nehdi's passing. Nehdi was not only the tournament top goal scorer of the 1934 World Cup, but he was also awarded the bronze ball as the third most outstanding player of the competition and was voted into the all-star team of the tournament. It was indeed a coincidence that he passed away during another World Cup that was hosted by Italy. So, whom do you think? Sorry, cricket game. What did I miss?